Welcome to the Radiate Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Christy Clemens Hoffman. Each week we will discuss tools, tips, and ways to radiate your best life ever, interviewing practitioners, authors, and luminaries to help you on your path. Wellness, joy, peace, abundance. What do you want to radiate? Hi there. Today I am joined by Winston Yang, who's one of the most positive people you'd ever want to meet in your life. And today we are going to radiate vibrant health. Now, Winston and I met at the Good Living Expo, which was in Kansas City in early February, was it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we had booths next to each other, and I noticed that there was this huge long line to your booth.
Everybody
the
likes
entire time. So Winston is the founder and owner of RawsomeKC, that is awesome with a raw, because all of the food you prepare is raw. And so a whole food, superfoods.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I noticed that all of the little protein balls you had, there was like this taco dip that was amazing.
It's a taco meat. It's a walnut
it
base.
was awesome. Walnut-based taco meat. So anyway, he was giving away samples of food, and it was just amazing. There was like, if you were selling something that weekend, you would have.
Yeah, I sold a little bit, but I wasn't prepared to sell because I thought it was just a sampling event.
Oh,
And
man, you could have made a killing.
But it was exciting because the people were just lined up.
And they were lined. I mean, it was like constant. And I think the second day you started cutting this thing, so you had more.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so Winston and I met at this awesome event, and I was really impressed because you have a BA in food science.
Yes.
So it's like this nutrition food expert who actually has the chops in science. And so, awesome. I'm so happy you could join us, Winston.
Yeah.
This is so fun.
Glad to be here.
Nice. So you started RawsomeKC. So tell us about RawsomeKC.
Well, I wanted to promote more superfoods, like plant-based foods. So be healthy plus enjoyable. A lot of people don't know that the power of plants, you could eat those and you could have more energy. Plus, you just feel more vibrant and you have that energy. And you don't have to eat as much because the amount of energy you're getting from these plants. And most food nowadays has been processed into a box or into a can. So the thing is, you're not getting what you're supposed to. So if I can develop a food that's considered fast, healthy, and raw, I hit it right there on the golden wheel.
Awesome. How long have you been doing Rawsome food, KC?
For about 2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
And then, so I know you do the little protein balls,
Yes.
the yummy little balls, and this taco meat. Yeah.
A walnut taco meat. And I created it because I was a vegetarian and then I became almost vegan. And I wanted something that was no soy, no corn, very low sodium, and I wanted it to be more protein and more omega-3. So I said, what would be the best? So I looked at walnuts. And walnuts have the great property of they're good for your brain, they're good for your hormones, they're good for your tendons and ligaments. So why not walnuts?
You know what? And it sounds crazy, but man, it tastes like some sort of, it tastes like meat.
Yeah, and it has a meaty texture.
It really
does. So it's not
does.
like soy. Soy promotes estrogen.
Yeah.
Or they put a bunch of vegetable fillings in it. But walnuts have that meaty texture, especially when you soak it.
Yeah, and it's delicious. I mean, really, it tasted very much like taco meat.
Yeah, and the beauty about it has never been cooked.
Exactly. So what's the benefit of raw food?
Well, you're going to get more nutrients out of it because when you cook your food, you're heating up the enzymes, you're destroying it.
Right.
That's common sense. So if you're getting more nutrients, then you can eat less and have more energy.
Oh, my God.
And whatever you want to do in life, you'll be able to achieve it.
Right.
Because the whole purpose of eating is just to fuel your body so you have energy, but not take energy from your body.
Not take energy from your body. Exactly. I think that's probably why a lot of Americans are just like so tired.
Yes.
They're
and sometimes
reserves.
their subconscious mind, they want something healthy, but if there's nothing out there, they got to pick and choose whatever the best thing is.
Yeah, exactly. So, whatever's going to be quick, what's going to be convenient. And so where can we find these wonderful foods that you produce?
Well, I'm an online store. I do everything in a commercial kitchen. But I have outlet places like Holistic Solutions. I got Bulk It in Lenexa. And then I have Genesis in Ridgeview. So I got places that are selling them, and so that you can pick it up there. So my goal is to eventually be able to do more and more small businesses and promote my brand. So
awesome.
Building their business along by building my business as well.
Right. And so, like, many of our listeners are not even in the Kansas City area, which is awesome. So if somebody was outside of the Kansas City area, how could they get some RawsomeKC food?
Well, I mean, eventually we haven't got to that yet.
You haven't gotten to that yet.
We're going to be probably shipping it.
Okay.
You know, and there's basically, Amazon is a great thing because once you develop a product and it's approved by Amazon, you can sell it on Amazon and Amazon will ship it for you.
Oh, they'll ship it anywhere.
It's beautiful. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
And I don't have to worry about having a shipping person.
Right.
And everybody shops on Amazon.
Everybody does.
So they give it a gift for people that want to sell stuff.
Okay, awesome. Now, how did you even get started doing RawsomeKC?
Well, my dad had prostate cancer like 7 years ago. He passed away. In the last couple of weeks, I started investigating more stuff on natural remedies for food, you know, to cure cancer, you know, and there was a lot of things out there. So, but then when I started looking up at like saying juices, I saw a lot of evidence on really the significance. And when my mom bought me a juicer.
Your mom bought you a juicer?
A month ago, not a month ago, but a month before my dad passed away.
Yeah.
And I started juicing, and I told you, I felt so much energy. So I was actually just drinking juice as a meal because I never had time to sit down and actually eat because I was interrupted. When I worked at a GNC, I was always interacting with customers. I didn't want to eat with food.
Yeah, so before you started RawsomeKC, you worked at GNC, the, what is it, General Nutrition Center?
General Nutrition.
Right, which is here in the United States.
So I would literally make my juices the night before, and I would bring it, that morning. And so I would have juices throughout the day. I would never have to eat anything. But I had so much energy because I didn't have to worry about sitting down, and taking a break because I could always just drink a juice really fast.
Right.
And it was crazy. I had so much energy. And then I worked out, and then I ate. So it's like intermediate fasting, which was nutrients. And then when I worked out, then I ate. Right. And everything got metabolized.
And you felt awesome.
Because all those enzymes were in my body to help break down the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fats. And
this is where your chops in food science
And even if you ate bad, it gave the body to get rid of it. Because without those enzymes, our body cannot get rid of those toxins. The protein has toxins. So if you can't get rid of the toxins, your body feels tired and sluggish.
Right.
And it can be depressed.
Sure.
Because you can't get it out. So.
Oh my God. So how did you even get into food science? I mean, that's a crazy major.
I wanted to be able to find a degree that I could get a job. And what would be the best thing would be people want to make sure their food is safe. So I said food science is great because it studies the functionality of food. It also studies, the quality of food, making sure it's safe for people to consume, and along with an aspect of just, all this packaging and interrogating. So the thing is, when I can go to the grocery store, I can tell people what to look for because there's so many things out there you wouldn't even know, like ingredients.
Okay.
Or if you label it organic, it can be up to 95% organic, and then 5% could be non-organic, and it could be horrible for your body because there's certain rules and certain standards because that's what they kind of go by, and even when they eat, there's certain standards on when they put toxins in their food. They say, you only eat this much food per month. So, but if you eat more, automatically you become toxic.
Right. Yeah, there's
and it could be
bigger
worse.
Toxic load, right?
No one knows who's eating what, but they just judge what people eat. And if you're not aware of it and you're eating a lot of stuff that's not good, it overlaps. And I look at it, if you're eating something that has soy and it's not organic and it promotes estrogen, it has a lot of pesticides, then you got something else that has soy in it. It's just too many things.
It's cumulative.
Yes.
It starts to layer up and add up.
And then corn.
That makes sense. Oh, corn. And corn is in everything.
Yes. And it's labeled as maltodextrin, or it's in cornstarch. Or, maltodextrin is not even, they classify it as a sugar because they say it's a vegetable. But if you study maltodextrin, it's processed into a sugar. It's actually worse than sugar.
Oh my God!
So when you read the nutrition label, it could say maltodextrin, and it could have 20 grams of that in there, but they don't classify that as sugar. It's a carbohydrate. So the whole thing about it, it's horribly because they're basically telling the person that it doesn't have sugar.
Right. Well, like a high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
It's like much worse for you than actual sugar.
And now they're getting it and putting on a label no high fructose corn syrup, because they're becoming more aware of it.
Because people want to know that, and we're becoming more savvy and more informed.
Yeah, and when you start actually looking things up on your own, not having someone else do it, because
Absolutely.
you have to do the one that does the looking, because you have to validate it. You don't want someone else to validate it, because you don't even know where they're getting it, their information from. And that's the thing, once you start doing that, then you become more aware of what's going on.
Yeah, you do.
And you really want to make sure everything's right.
Yeah. Now, were you always interested in nutrition?
Well, since I was 14, I got into bodybuilding, and I was into lifting. I loved the nutrition aspect, because without eating right, you could not see the proper results.
Right.
So you had to get the protein. I had to make sure I had the right amount of fats. I had to keep the foods wholesome. So it couldn't have a lot of processed stuff in it.
Right.
So I was reading food labels when I was 14 years old.
See, I know a lot of 14-year-olds. They don't like to read, much less nutrition labels.
And then even eating fast food, I never liked it once I started doing the lifting and the bodybuilding, because I knew fast food was bad for my body.
Right.
And even if I had a fast metabolism, there was no value. It would actually lose muscle, because it's putting garbage in the body, and the body has to break it down, so it takes energy from your body. So then you get skinnier or you get fatter.
Oh, interesting, right.
And they're empty calories. They have no value, but they're enjoyable for the first 5 minutes.
Right.
Because of when you eat, it's dopamine in the brain. But you really don't really taste it. It just becomes like the same stuff.
Yeah.
And truly, when I started making raw foods, I truly appreciated what food tastes like at room temperature. You could taste the flavor. You appreciate it, and it's just like everything comes. You could taste everything. Mm-hmm. And it's just like wow, because most people nowadays eat salt. It's all salt and starches,
right? And
they don't chew their food. So the thing is, they're really not really tasting the food. They're just chewing and swallowing, and it's filling up like starches in their body.
Right.
And there's really nothing in there.
Well, there's no food there.
There's no enjoyment, really.
No, absolutely not. So you're really convincing me that raw, whole.
Well, not all raw, but you could eat cooked and raw together.
Oh, okay.
So like if you're gonna have a pizza, you could literally make a pizza, and then you could put raw cucumbers after it's been cooler on top, and put some fresh cilantro. It's amazing on the pizza. Plus, it has moisture in it. So when you eat pizza, you're so dry and you're so thirsty. But when you put those things in there, it kind of alleviates the salt, the thirst, and plus it helps you eat less.
Now that's interesting. Yeah.
Because you're eating a whole large pizza versus you're eating a quarter of a large, because you're putting all those toppings on there. And with the cucumbers and all that stuff, it actually tastes better.
I can imagine.
It's amazing. You don't want to cook a cucumber.
Crunchy.
Oh yeah, or fresh cilantro.
Oh, I love
fresh basil.
Oh yeah.
And you just dice it, or use a food processor, and you can eat your vegetables without even cooking them, and plus you're eating pizza.
Absolutely.
But when you cook the pizza with spinach, it doesn't taste right.
I have to say, pizza is my favorite thing in the world. I love pizza.
But you should try it with the raw vegetables.
I'm going to try it with raw vegetables.
I mean, if you're going to have a taco pizza, you don't want to. You could cook your pizza and then put your fresh toppings on top.
Oh, that sounds
like
good.
Fresh cilantro, fresh anything, fresh spinach, fresh tomatoes, cucumbers, and then you could put your you don't even have to put like that cheese. You could literally put your own cashew cheese, make your own cheese sauce. And it would be amazing. Good. And then you put your salsa, and then you cut it and just eat it like a taco pizza. Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty popular item in pizza places.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
When I worked at Pizza Hut, the taco pizza was a really popular one. I never liked it, but people liked it because they had the lettuce on top and stuff.
Right, yeah, it's crunchy and fresh. Now, you had said an interesting thing earlier when we were talking. It was that when you eat more fresh vegetables and fresh fruits and things, and you mentioned water.
Yes.
Yeah, what was that again?
Well, the thing about it, when you're eating more raw foods, you're promoting more moisture in your body, so you don't have to drink as much water. We are 85% water in our bodies, and we're 85% water in our brain. So without water, our body becomes sluggish and tired. So if we don't eat foods that have moisture, then we have to consume more water. And most people are not consuming much water. They're consuming pop, Gatorade. Right. Those are the things that really are not water. They're clogging your body up. So when you're not eating the right foods, plus you're drinking the wrong stuff, you just become tired and sluggish.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, you know so much about food. This is wonderful. I mean, like, we could talk about, like, all the time
all day
about
long.
this.
Yeah,
This is fantastic.
Too much knowledge.
You have a lot of knowledge. Well, it's like, I mean, you've actually got the chops as far as the science and everything.
Oh yeah, and the thing about it, I could go to cooking school, but the thing is, I don't think I need to, but because they do study texture. Also, all the functionality of foods, like if this is an emulsifier, or is this going to help with the viscosity, or is this going to help with the texture? I have all the understanding what goes in those ingredients, and to make a food that was amazing.
And so you started this whole, it's like kind of a convenience food?
Yeah, I wanted to be able to make something simple and easy, and then it's enjoyable. Like
it is so good.
And
I mean,
protein balls was the first thing.
The protein balls are amazing. It's like the chocolate ones taste like chocolate, and the birthday cake ones taste like birthday cake.
Non-baked cookie.
Oh my God!
Everybody, when they're making cookies, when you're a child, would eat the cookie dough batter.
Oh yeah,
that was the best part.
I don't care if it's got eggs.
It wasn't
in
the cookies that coming out of the oven. It was right in the batter.
Yeah.
So why not have something that's like this is coming right out of the batter? It's giving you those memories. Plus, it's good for you.
Plus, it's good for you.
It's amazing.
Okay, so how did you know how to make these things? How did you find out, or did anybody teach you?
Not really. It just came in like naturally. Right. And then I started making the protein balls, and I started like, God, you're good. My mom said, man, you're good at these, because everybody tried to make them, and they never came out as good.
I've tried to make them. I have to say, there's an art and a
she
skill.
says, man, I think you got a talent for this.
Oh, really?
But then I started creating. I wanted something that was a vegan meat or super plant-based meats.
Right.
So why not create something like my protein bowls with walnuts? And that's why I came out with the taco meat.
Oh, man.
So, and the thing is, the taco meat can be made with a lot of things. You can make meatballs out of it. You can make meatloaf. Right. You can use that as a binding agent, and it's like a meat agent. And the thing is, it's amazing.
Oh my gosh!
And the thing is, you wouldn't have to worry about keeping it frozen, because it stays good for 2 weeks in the refrigerator.
Right.
And the thing is, you can keep it in the freezer forever, but it's non-perishable because there's no meat, there's no dairy, and it's kind of acidic because of the lemon juices in there, so it preserves it. And then there's a little bit of Himalayan salt. So the combination of all that, and then when I sprout my walnuts, I soak them with some vinegar. And then I soak it up with a little Himalayan salt. That gets rid of all the bacteria and parasites. So it literally removes the surface, all the tension and all that scum. So if you ever soak your nuts, it literally becomes, it looks gross on the surface. So the water starts to foam up. You definitely want them because you don't want to eat that dirt.
Okay, now what is the benefit of soaking walnuts?
It makes them more digestible. So they double on size. Right. The texture is better because it's more meatier. And, and you get more absorption.
Okay.
Because if you don't absorb it. Plus, it's harder in your stomach, and it's not as enjoyable as eating it.
Right. So you soak them first, and then do you dry them out after that?
You could, but I let them dry out to a certain degree, and then I use the food processor as like the meat texture. So it looks like, that looks like ground beef, but it's white.
It really does.
And then I put all the other stuff, the carrots and the onions, into the Vitamix. So that was like the sauce part. And then when I put all the sauce, then I put it together. Man. And then it's like amazing, because once you put it together,
so good.
The flavor, the smell, it's like it radiates all over the place. You're like, God, this is Mexican flavor.
I know, the smell's coming out of your booth at this place. Oh my God, it was amazing. It made me hungry. Go walking around the fair and come back and go, oh my God.
And the best is when it's at room temperature. Because that's the food tastes better that way. And so you can literally take this to the airport and eat it.
Right.
And you could even take it on the plane because there's no water in it. It's not like water. Right. It's still food. And they would allow it. And it would give you something better than what
Much better. I know. It's like when you're strapped for convenience, it's hard.
I know.
It's really hard.
And the thing is this, you can make tacos, you can make wraps out of it, you can make sandwiches out of it, you can use it as a dip on chips, or you can use a dip as a celery sticks. So it is literally low carb friendly. It's high in protein, omega-3s, plus it's good fats, which promotes that sense of fullness. And there's no soy, there's no fillers in it.
Right.
So that's the beauty about it.
And I think people don't really understand. They think, soy, that's plant-based, it's healthy, it's natural, but not necessarily.
No, and corn.
All
the vegetarian has corn and soy, and then there's a lot of salt. If you look at the sodium content, that's going to destroy your body. And so you're getting nothing for your money. And it's been frozen.
Right.
You know, but you can see more and more people want vegetable stuff, vegetarian.
They do.
So you look at Morningstar, they're growing and more selections.
They are.
But it's not, it's just, there's a lot of fillers in it. You know, and then they came out with the Beyond Burger pea protein. And it's not bad, but it has a ton of sodium in it.
Oh, man.
And sodium generally is not good for your body. Because,
what does it do?
Well, and generally, too much salt, it clogs up your body.
Right.
It can clog up your heart. It can cause heart failure.
Right. Oh.
Or high blood pressure.
Well, and it makes you retain water, too.
Absolutely. So when your body doesn't need as much, you shouldn't keep consuming it. And I'm talking about not just salt. Anything that's like, if you're drinking a soda that has inorganic solids, that's considered something that's going to have to come out of your body. So you're taking salt, you're taking stuff that has inorganic solids, and it's accumulating in your body, and your body's like, what's going on? I can't figure out how to get rid of all this. And it becomes almost like, man, I can't do this. Eventually it becomes tired because it doesn't know how to keep up. Because you keep shoveling all this stuff in, but there's no way to shovel it back out.
Right, absolutely.
And if you're not getting enough water, especially, water is
you're not flushing
garbage.
It out. Right.
And if you're just taking Gatorade, all that stuff, those are inorganic solids in it.
Yeah.
And then plus the sodium. Mm-hmm. It's a knife, basically. and truly, when you eat a lot of salt, you don't really taste the food.
True, you're tasting the salt.
Yes. And salt and sugar is very addicting. So that's why they put it in the food.
Okay, so salt is addicting. I did not realize that.
Salt and sweet.
Oh my gosh, I knew sugar was addicting.
I know, but
I didn't know the salt was addicting.
Oh, it's addicting.
Okay, well then I am totally an addict because I salt my ketchup before I eat it with my French fries. I know.
And then you look at
bad.
salt, it's like a crystal. It's like a rock.
It is.
It's sharp.
Right.
So you're putting that in your body. So really, it's not good. I mean, it's good to take a little bit for the electrolytes.
You need some of it.
Yes, but you're supposed to get it from your food.
Right.
So the whole celery thing in that and I knew that a long time ago. It helps with digestion. It helps with restore your hydrochloric acid.
What now? The celery?
Celery.
Really? Okay.
A couple of stalks of celery daily will promote weight loss. Will promote energy. Also gets rid of. Helps with digestion. A lot of people have digestion problems.
Right.
It's not. And when you take celery juice, it's inedible quickly, instantaneously.
Right. So even celery juice is okay. You don't need that fiber?
You can do the fiber, but it's a lot of chewing. So if you're doing 2 big bundles of celery each day,
right.
and you're chewing that up, it's a lot of energy to chew it because you got to think about it. You have to chew your food to break the cell wall, so it has to be formed into a mush. So if you're juicing, if you've ever seen the juicing process, it's like it chops it up to a form of like almost like a baby food. In order for that to happen, then you can digest it with the enzymes. Because if you do not break those cell walls and be able to tap into those enzymes, you're not going to be able to get anything out of it. It's just going to come out whole.
Right.
Does that make sense? That's why
it totally
we have
makes
teeth.
sense. I'm just right.
And if you cannot chew, then use a food processor to chop it up a little finer. Or make a smoothie and you can eat it out of there. Because our purpose of our teeth is to chew our food. That's why we have teeth. So if we're not chewing our food, we're not really eating food. That's the whole thing.
Well, no, then what about smoothies then?
Smoothies are good because they've been chopped up.
Pre-chewed.
Yes. And you really stay full from the fiber.
You do. You really do. I know. I make a smoothie every morning with kale, banana, strawberry, I don't know, cayenne.
Oh, yeah. And you got the fiber. Some things you don't want to put in like carrots because it's way too much fiber. So what I used to do is I used to make carrot juice and then I would store it the next day and I would put it in my smoothies. It's phenomenal.
It's so sweet.
You don't need to put almond milk. I put carrot juice.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
And then I would put the spinach and then I would have a cucumber in there. And it's just like amazing.
Oh, that sounds so good.
And once you start doing it, you start getting addicted to the carrot juice.
Oh my gosh! It is so sweet. And you talked about the sweetness is the first thing that a person can taste when they're an infant.
Oh yeah,
that's the first taste you have.
And then the thing about the carrot juice, it's great for your bones because it has high amount of calcium and magnesium. Plus, it also promotes. I've studied this. It repairs the colon and also the intestines. So those 2 things that help our bodies. We need our bodies to function, and without our intestines and without our colon, we could become deaf, and we don't have a healthy body.
I just choked now because what you said kind of shocked me a little bit. So I'm like, wait, what? So was what you mentioned? Carrot juice helps repair your
colon and intestines. You look at that up, and
wow.
But a lot of people don't drink carrots or eat carrots because of the high sugar. They think it's high sugar. Well, if you're juicing it or if you're eating a raw carrot, the sugar is not like a sugar when you cook it. It becomes sweeter.
Yeah.
The sugar that was living becomes dead. It's sweeter because it's dead, and plus there's no nutrients in it.
Right.
So if you cook a pineapple, it becomes super sweet.
It does.
If you drink it from squeezing it,
right, it's tart.
Not quite as sweet.
Right.
So because there's enzymes in there, and there's nutrients in there, but most people they want that sweet food. They get so addicted to it.
Right.
And when you add sugar on top of that, it's even worse.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're just totally blowing my mind here. Now I hear about cold pressed juice. And I don't know, is there a difference? I just kind of look at juice and I go, oh, that's juice.
Well, there's definitely cold press. There's 2 steps. It goes into the grinding part where it's like the teeth, and then from the teeth you have to go to a hydraulic press. So it's like kind of like how a garbage thing crushes it.
Oh, the compactor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so by doing that, there's no friction, causing no heat. So it's squeezing all the juice out of it, leaving the pulp behind, which is the fiber. There's no value. There's no value in the fiber. So it's only the value of the fiber is to act like a broom to get rid of garbage.
Yeah. So what do you do for fiber, or do you need fiber if you're juicing?
In actuality, you don't need as much fiber unless you're eating lots of junk food. Then you'll probably add smoothies to your diet.
Okay.
Or but the thing is, most people don't eat right, so they have to add the fiber. But if you ate perfectly, you would never need fiber because, like say, raw vegetables. Plenty of fiber. And you could eat, say, a whole bag of apples, and you could only eat so many.
Right.
You could eat a whole pound, 4 pounds of sugar. You could just keep eating it. And on top of that, you feel like you got nothing.
Right.
And you want more.
When you feel, right.
Because it automatically, it's like stimulates the brain with a dopamine, and then it wants more intense. And you start craving it more, and then it controls you. And that's why sugar is so bad in the food industry.
Right. Oh, and this in everything.
Yes, and the sugar and salt, it becomes more addictive, so you come back and buy it more. You don't really see things that have low sodium or low sugar that it won't taste good, so people won't come back and buy it.
Right. But it sounds like if the food is whole food, it's made from wholesome ingredients that you can pronounce. It's like fresh and natural. You don't need sugar or salt to make it taste good.
And plus it doesn't stay. You could literally eat it within a week and it's still fresh.
Right.
And everything at the store, like salsa, spaghetti sauce. I mean, I could do a workshop. I could make it so simple that they could make their sauce and have it for a week, and it's cheaper. Plus, it's way more wholesome. Plus, it tastes amazing because it hasn't been made 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's been sitting in a jar or in a plastic bottle.
That's even
because
worse.
Because the plastic bottle, it becomes more plastic.
Leaches.
Oh, it absolutely.
It leaches into your food and your drink.
I always recommend if you're going to buy anything in plastic, take the plastic and put it into the jar because that petroleum keeps lounging into your food, even the canned stuff.
So again, petroleum being part of the plastic.
Yes.
And that leaches into
in there.
Absolutely.
It's like bottled water. I mean, most people don't understand that when you buy those bottled waters, those have been recycled. And the thing is, that leaches in the water. And the thing is, whenever it was put in, say if it was dated, say, a year ago and still good, there's petroleum in there. You could do a testing on how many solids are in there, and it would go up every month.
Right.
Like total solids.
Wow.
And that's basically not good because they test our water. There's certain standards of solids that can only be in our water. Yeah. So if it's over that amount. But bottled water has never been tested. I mean, they don't really test that. It's been really kind of like people don't really care for it, or they're not really putting a lot of resources on it. And there's so many different bottled water companies.
Anymore, like our environment, our food, our water, everything is just, we're in this toxic soup all of the time. You know what I mean?
Especially when you live in the city.
And we've got things like carpet, and we've got paint on the walls, and traffic pollution, and everything else.
And this puts more harm to our body. And really, the purpose of the raw foods and water is to actually reflect that stuff from our body. So we become we have this shield with the water of the foods, so that the chemicals that from the sky or from everything else bounces back off of us. because that's the purpose of eating healthy and having healthy water. It's like a shield. Mm-hmm. But most people, their shield's gone, and so it just keeps puncturing their body, and eventually it kills them.
That's amazing. I know. We talked about cancer earlier. I mean, I think we're starting to understand what all goes into diseases such as that.
And really, it's all. I mean, I believe that. I mean, I'm not true about this because I'm not a medical doctor. It starts with circulation. Once the blood flow doesn't flow as right, it starts to flow at a different speed, and then certain areas don't get the certain nutrients.
Stagnant.
So it could be the heart, it could be the lungs, or it could be the thyroid. So you develop certain diseases that have that problem.
That have no because of the stagnation and inflammation.
The flow rate.
The flow rate.
And if you really look at when a baby's born, they're full of light. And you ask yourself, why are they full of light? Because they haven't had solid foods, and they've had more liquids, so they are shining.
Interesting.
And also, another thing, babies never depressed; they're always smiling.
Yeah.
Because they have nothing but wholesome liquids.
Right.
So once they come out, they're smiling. But then when you start putting the wrong stuff in,
wow.
But it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and earlier we were talking about just the role of emotion.
Yes.
In the body too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how the
food can control your emotions, and
vice versa. It's a chicken and the egg, or a vicious cycle.
And it's a comfort zone, because when people are depressed, they go to food.
They do, don't they?
And they feel like they want to feel happy, but they never really get happy. It's just 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. They don't really. It's like trying to just treat the problem, but not cure the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they don't know how to cure the problem. They just know how to treat it.
Right.
And they add that food addiction, or it could be another addiction. It could be alcohol, or it could be drugs, or it could be anything just to get rid of that other thing so they can feel better.
Exactly.
And it's horrible,
I know. And so, of course, one path to feeling better is just great food.
Yes, great food, or just having one thing in your life that's good. It's going to change. It's going to change a lot of things over time. I'm a firm believer is just to make little steps.
Yes.
And then automatically the bigger steps will come.
Exactly. Yes. One small step at a time.
Absolutely.
There have been several guests on this show, and we talk about just small changes. So, like, if somebody's listening to this and saying, "Hey, okay, that sounds awesome. Raw food, good food, wholesome food," but it just seems so daunting and so overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So, what small changes could you recommend for somebody to make?
Well, I mean, maybe adding some smoothies to their diet, some raw vegetables, like add some spinach to their diet. So just one thing that they haven't done, and do that, and then maybe even one meal, try to do more raw foods and less cooked. And it's exciting because it doesn't have to be meat. If you're eating meat, you could just say, "Oh, one day I'm going to eat no meat, and I'm going to do all plant-based foods." And it's exciting because you can create different things instead of having the same stuff over and over. Mm-hmm. So it gives you more, I think, more enjoyment because you're not eating the same stuff. Because most people, they don't quite understand that there's so much more out there, and they haven't tried it. And if you never tried it, it's like you're missing life. And even if you haven't tried it and you judge it, you haven't even tried it.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, it was like Monday's meatloaf, Tuesday's stew, Wednesday's chicken.
Yes. And truly, when you look at raw foods, and if you ever went to a raw food restaurant, it's beautiful because you can see all the vibrant color. It's like art, versus cooked food, you can only do so much. But really, it's beautiful. I mean, you could literally sit this, and you could eat it later, and you could just, I don't want to eat this. It's beautiful.
Right.
Because it's like this perfection of color,
colorful and
energy,
glistening, and it looks beautiful.
Absolutely.
I know. We used to have a wonderful raw food, mostly raw food restaurant downtown. It's not there anymore. It's very sad about that. Well, it was called Food.
Oh yeah.
FUD.
I think they're coming back.
Oh, I hope so. It was wonderful. It was lovely.
Yeah, they had some problems with their management and stuff.
They did have some management problems. Absolutely. But maybe are you having any plans to maybe start a restaurant?
Probably not. My whole thing is to be able to promote a brand that I can supply other businesses.
I love that.
I can make their business grow and overlap my business with their business, because the whole thing is we're truly trying to make people feel better, healthier, and to feel good about themselves. So everything that I go to, the business, they're promoting the same thing. So when I say, I love to sell this product, so this will promote your business, automatically it's like a synergistic thing.
It's a symbiotic thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you have one restaurant, one store, well, then that's it. But if you're everywhere...
When you have 1 billion small businesses growing.
Exactly.
And we're all basically doing one thing, helping everybody out. And the thing is, we're growing together. And it's like, it's amazing. It's one big happy family. And we'll, and we continue growing because there's no stress, because we're all working together.
Yeah.
And it's not stressful.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, everybody and everything in life, most people are looking for something that they have value or they can give somebody.
That we can radiate in the world, right.
Without purpose, you feel like you got no value.
Right.
So if you have a purpose and you have a value and you can overlap with other people's purposes and value, it's amazing because the energy you're creating is this big ball of energy, but it keeps growing and eventually it becomes unstoppable.
Yeah.
Because you cannot stop something that good to keep growing.
Oh,
because it's really, that's the thing, and truly having this business that I'm starting to do, it's starting to pick up, but I think it's going to be really, it's going to keep growing and growing, and eventually I can do other things.
Well, and I tell you, your positivity, your energy is just like radiant and infectious.
Well, you got to be happy on what you love to do, and I've always had that.
Yeah.
And truly, I mean, I don't think we were born to be inside. I don't think we were born to be doing something with the computer. We were born to talk to people. We were born to socialize and interact because our gifts is communicating with others. It's not with a phone. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's not being behind the scenes. It's really talking to other people.
Well, you know what's nice about food is that is the common denominator. For everything. Everybody eats food.
Everything's around food.
And our celebrations are around food. We take in food several times a day.
Yes.
And we do it in community. We do it for parties, and we do it to socialize with our friends. When you're getting together with a friend, what do you say? Let's go to lunch. Let's go to dinner. Let's have coffee.
Oh yeah. And the thing about this program, it overlaps everything. Wellness programs. I mean, there's so many companies that would love their wellness program to become better. So
absolutely
their employees become healthier. They got more energy, and they got this excitement, and they're making the company grow because of this one change.
Because they feel awesome. Right. And just, if you're looking at the bottom line, there's fewer sick days.
Absolutely.
You're not having to pay more in insurance.
Productivity and more efficiency. So that they could work a 4-hour day and it'd be like working a 12-hour day.
Right.
It's so much more efficient.
Because they're so productive and focused.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But if you're not eating the right foods and you're overdrained, your productivity becomes lower and lower and lower. So most companies become sluggish, and then they go bankrupt, or they don't really have that drive.
Well, you know what? Where your energy and expertise is really needed is schools.
I know, and that's the whole thing is with people that have a short extension. They can't really focus on a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Or they can't socialize with people because of. They're just been contained, and plus they're not eating the right stuff.
They're not. Well, I know my kid goes to a charter school, and it's a public charter school, so it has public school food programs.
Yes.
And so, like, for the breakfast, they have Lucky Charms or a cinnamon roll that's prepackaged, or a prepackaged, like, blueberry muffin. And that's breakfast.
I know.
And then they're expected to focus all morning.
It's hard. But, nothing against the food program there. They only have so much money that they can promote it, and it has to have so many calories, and then it has to have each kind of food group. So that's why they're coming out with those things.
Right.
So it wasn't because they're intentionally doing it, but that's what they had to. And it's standards, and it's frustrating because those standards aren't even good.
Exactly. That's why we have to have such a change in this. Also, I'm thinking the military would be, Napoleon said an army marches on its stomach.
Absolutely.
And, we can think of so many areas in our life where we could truly overhaul and make a difference.
Oh, yeah. And truly, when you were eating the good foods and then you start becoming more aware of who you are and you become happier, you start living life because you start finding things that you love to do. And then your passions become more like, they drive you and give you more of a purpose.
Right.
Because everybody has a true passion, everybody has their calling, and they're gifted, but they have to, feed yourself the right foods. Plus, you got to make time for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the most thing. Most people don't make the time. They do everything else but themselves.
It's hard to sometimes, but it's important.
And even the kids nowadays are with electronics.
Oh my God,
they can't go out and play because they're so used to being stimulated. Oh, let's go out and do this. Let's go out and do that. Let's have the parent go do this. So the whole purpose of being a kid is to go out and explore and find out what you love to do, because that's how you're going to find it out, what your passions are in life, because the parents are not going to find it. It's the kid. And if the parent doesn't let go and force it, the kid never knows what he wants.
I know.
And he's depressed because he doesn't have a purpose or a value. And everything it's like we're shooting for a purpose of life and having value. And if you have no value or purpose, you feel like you got nothing.
Well, I have to just ask, and I think I know the answer, but you've said you have to have a purpose many times. What do you feel is your purpose?
It's more or less just giving other people making people feel better about themselves, but finding their true purpose.
I love
because my goal is to really promote the food, but the next thing would be to promote their being and make them feel great, because that's the whole thing is they have way more. Most people are always knocked down and they think they only have this because of their circumstance, but they could get out of their circumstance.
How'd you get to be such a positive guy, Winston?
I don't know. Have you
always been this positive?
Pretty much, yeah. And even when my dad was dying of prostate cancer the last couple of weeks, I worked at GNC, and everybody was like, man, you say so positive. I can't believe that you're having all this stress and you're not letting it get to you. Well, you can't. You have to.
What's the alternative, honestly?
You have to basically focus on what you have and work with it, and don't focus on the negative things, because that's going to draw you down.
Yeah.
And truly, some of the things that are not good are actually good for you, because they're putting your attention on other things that are going to be good for you. Mm-hmm. Most people don't understand that. They always think it's against them, but it isn't. It's always for them. Mm-hmm. It's getting you focused on something else.
You can think this happened to me, or you can think this happened for me.
Absolutely. And when you see the outcome later on, you're like, wow, this is amazing. I let go of my job. I got fired. Now I got this job that's amazing, and I would have never quit my job.
Well, this is what I'm doing. I used to work for Hallmark, and I was part of the great layoffs of 2015 with several hundred other people. Yeah. And it was depressing and it was really scary at the time. But you know what? Now I'm doing this, and it's freaking awesome.
And you feel like there's energy. You're excited about going to work.
I love it.
You're thinking about what I can do to make it more enjoyable, or you just become this perfectionist.
Right. Well, if I was stuck, in a job where I was working during the week and only had time to live and do what I need to do on the weekends, I wouldn't meet wonderful people like you.
And then
wouldn't be able to meet all these great people. Absolutely.
And I look at it.
There's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5, and many people are happy doing it. And that's not the point. But if that feeds you and energizes you and motivates you.
Yeah, but really, that 9 to 5 was not really invented. It was invented by somebody. It never had to be 9 to 5. We didn't have to work 40 hours. If you ever investigate the rich, they stay rich. They don't work 40 hours a week.
No, they don't.
They know how to manage their time and make it more efficient, and to be able to outsource other things so other things happen, because time is more important than money.
Oh, it really
so if
is.
they can free up their time from doing this, so they can focus on this, and then eventually free up their time, and eventually they can focus on more things that are huge impacts.
Right.
And then that's why they stay rich. Mm-hmm. Because they're not doing all this other nonsense.
Right, that's absolutely right. Well, and even the 40-hour work week was from unions who said, okay, we're tired of being made to work 80 hours, 60 hours a week. Let's have we need some rest and some free time. So, it's all degrees, but no, you're absolutely right.
It's all about being efficient. And I'm a Tom Ferriss person. I've actually started watching his podcast.
A who person?
Tom Ferriss.
Oh, I don't know him.
Tim Ferriss. And he's the one that worked the 4-hour work week. But he's also wrote a book on the workouts and stuff. You can 4-hour workout week. So the thing is, nice. You can make things more efficient and have the same outcome, and then you can focus on other things. So it's the purpose of not wasting time on other things. It's even eating.
Focusing on what's important.
If you're eating the right food, eat less. And then you can focus on other things of your life.
Oh my God! And think about how much time you're freed up from all the shopping and the preparing and all of this.
It's like it affects everything.
Oh, and it does. I never really realized that before. Just this right now.
We eat because we want to stay full, But if we have energy, then we don't need to eat as much. And then if we're not clogged, if we don't feel tired and sluggish, we can get more stuff done.
We can get more stuff done.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And then we'll also find out what we like to do. It's amazing.
And you say that, and
it's free time.
Free time.
Free time for yourself.
Because a lot of people who are asked, what do you like to do? What drives your passion? They're like, I don't know.
And
right?
truly, most people, it's purpose and value, but it's about to be able to give to somebody some value so they appreciate it. And that's what our whole purpose of life is to give somebody something that they can value and they appreciate it. So it almost feels, it's like it gives you those goosebumps.
Yeah.
And you get excited because you're giving this other person hope.
Yeah.
And truly.
Well, honestly, it's just like you create this energy in someone and you create this like mutual energy and it's awesome. But of course, energy is my world.
Well, everything is energy. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, even Albert Einstein. I mean, all those science.
It's all frequency. It's all vibration.
Yes, and how we feel inside. Because really, there is no future. Is because we create the future with our present time. And if we don't feel good inside and we make the wrong decision because of our inside, we actually automatically make the future not good. Because the future automatically happens because we choose the wrong thing because of the food. And how we think.
Yes. Well, I go to the thoughts, but yes, the food also, absolutely.
It does. It does stimulate what we think.
Every single cell. Well, and quantum mechanics, and I don't know if you ever know of heart math, but heart math, Greg Braden talks about how, like every cell of our body is intelligent.
Yes.
Right?
And it has the ability to do a lot of things that most people don't understand.
Exactly.
The thing is, it's like I always say, our body is like having a Ferrari, but only using 2% of the Ferrari. Be able to only go out once a month with it, but to have the capacity of what that can do, it's amazing. Man. Because you don't even know what you have. Yeah. I mean, but you think you have just this. Right. But truly, in our bodies, they can rejuvenate, they can adapt, and they can adapt to any circumstance, given it the right amount of time. Right. And that's amazing because it's not, how would a person develop a body like that? Because it's impossible. Yeah. I mean, to develop, be able to get cold, and then if the cold becomes warmer, I mean, because your body adapts to it. Or if you're only eating so much food, your body will adapt to it, and it'll take, that's all the calories I'm going to get, and you still stay healthy. Right. It's just because your body will adapt to anything. Right. It will. Yes. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So, even if you're not a vegetarian or eat raw food, your body will adapt. And you're getting a lot of protein and a lot of stuff. I mean, everything has protein in it. It does. And even the air you breathe, you're promoting nitrogen. There's nitrogen in the air that has protein. And if you look that up. I didn't know that. And so if you're breathing good, breathing in and breathing out, you're promoting a lot of protein, so you're never going to be protein deficient. Right. But I believe it's being hydrated and nutrients. Right. So if you become dehydrated and not nutrients in your body becomes tired and sluggish. And it's not really the protein. You need those are the most important things. Well, it's just so interesting how every few years there will be something. It's like, okay, low fat, fats are bad. Oh, no, wait a minute. Fats are fine. Sugar's bad. Okay, no sugar. Well, sugar's okay. Well, no dairy. Okay, well, dairy in some case. And then protein. Right now we're in this high protein. And the thing is, what drives the food industry is usually the pharmaceutical company. Yeah. And also there's big pharma. Big certain ag. Key words, and there's certain things that in your subconscious mind automatically you want drawn to it because it's like a magnet. So say more about that. Well, it's the food that we are eating that's been advertised. It has this it's almost like they're drawing you to this food because they're getting their attention. Exactly. And then you become addicted to it. Right. Because it controls you. Well, because these are the message right. And really, they did a study on the brain, and they did a person that had cocaine and a person that had sugar. It had the same thing on the brain. Seriously? The same actual effect. And when you see that, and you're giving your kid that, you're almost asking for trouble. Oh, yeah. And the thing is, they cannot focus, or if they have a lot of energy already, they become hyperactivity, and they can't even focus. They're all over the place. They can't They're focus. Like a loose cannon. and they don't even know what they're doing because they have all this energy, but they got nowhere to focus on.
Absolutely. Well, and it's like you say, focus, and they're like, I can't.
And then when you start eating the sugar, you crave more sugar.
Right.
So once you start, it's like a drug. Once you have a little drug, you create a bigger drug.
More,
and
right.
it becomes more of addiction. It's like anything in life. It can be pornography. You go to a bigger pornography, you become more addicted to a bigger thing, and it becomes more harder to get out because that one thing wasn't as good. Now you become
more
obsessed with something more. So and it comes with everything, food, any addiction.
Oh, absolutely.
So when it starts to control you and you start looking for more things that are not good for you, you definitely want to get out of it. Or we got to recognize it because it just drives you in the hole.
Absolutely.
And eventually it'll beat you up. Because that's the whole purpose is finding out, oh, this is not good for me.
Talking to you, I just want to bottle your personality. I just want to bottle the positive message that you have. I'm wondering if there is a book in you somewhere.
Well, yeah, but maybe I'm going to write a book. One day I'm going to write a book.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more or less what I'm talking about is being more vibrant, more energy, and more healthy, and to be who you are, and not to be someone else. Because nowadays social media makes people look good, but inside people don't feel good. They can be depressed, but on the outside they look awesome.
They look like
they're living life and everything, but inside it's horrible.
Absolutely.
And so the thing is, they gotta make their body, make themselves feel more, less depressed. And I believe putting the food automatically will make an impact.
Right.
It'll change one of their problems. It'll affect more things, and eventually it'll start changing their life. So what I always tell people, you don't have to completely go on lots of raw foods and fruits and vegetables. Just incorporate one small juice daily.
I like the small effects.
And the thing is, you're going to see changes in a week, and you'll see little changes. And the thing is, over time, you're going to see huge changes.
Right.
And then you'll start choosing different things that make huge impacts. So instead of having a little impact, you choose this. Boom, big impact. Because you become more, I always say it's not really, you become more adventurous and you're more risky, and you want to start doing things that are like, oh, I can do this. Because most people are so scared and they're so risky. Oh, I can't do that. No, you start becoming more adventurous and risky, and you start diving in and you start achieving things.
Well, it's like you were saying, a little feels good, why not do more?
Yes.
But why can't it be something positive that feels good?
And truly, once they start doing that, they will start, literally everything in their life will change within a year.
Yeah.
It's just boom. They could be homeless, they could be rich.
Right.
It's just how they feel in life. Inside.
It makes a huge difference.
And that's the outcome of how you feel outside.
Right.
Because the way you choose things in life is how you feel inside.
Well, and as a healer, people come in and say, oh, fix me. Well, that's not possible.
No.
It's if anything, it's going to be like a 60-40.
Yeah, and the only way to fix it is to fix yourself. You have to do it yourself.
You really
because
do.
Everybody's different. You got to reach out to who you are and have that quality time by yourself, and really trying to find out how I'm going to fix myself inside. Because there's no one that can do that.
Nobody can do it for you.
Yes.
They absolutely can't. Yeah. Well, Winston, it's been so much fun talking to you. I mean, we could sit here and talk for an hour.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously.
A lot of things, a lot of aspects.
So if somebody wants to connect with you, that would be RawsomeKC.com?
www.RawsomeKC.com.
Yep. And so that's raw, like raw food.
Yes.
And then awesome, but it's Rawsome.
Yes,
KC
correct.
for Kansas City.
There's no E. I think it's Rawsome.
Oh, that's how I messed up.
That's why I didn't get.
Yes, I tried to email Winston to show up on time and to the right place, and it kept bouncing back.
And I think there's a dog food that's named Rawsome.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, in Kansas City, and they promote raw foods.
For dogs?
Yeah.
Well, sure, why
and
not?
you think about it, if you're promoting healthy raw foods to your dog, why wouldn't you do the same?
Absolutely.
And I actually, one of my outlet places, Holistic Solution, she has a barkery. She has 2 barkeries, and it's
right.
Brookside Barkeries. And the thing is, she does really well because their dogs are healthy, and she sells nothing but raw foods to the dog.
She's going to be on the podcast too.
Yes,
I'm so
pretty
excited
soon.
about that.
And the thing about it, then she opened up a Holistic Solutions with with the
CBD.
tea, CBD, and all this stuff, and
Absolutely.
then with also the superfoods on top of that, it's just like overlap
Just
it.
layered.
Yes.
See, this idea of wholesome eating, healthy eating is just exploding
Just feeling
all over the
good,
place.
And when I worked at GNC, the most people that come in, and I used to talk to them on a personal level, they always said, "Man, I want to feel better about myself." That was always the same question. I want to feel good about myself, and I'm like, man, if I could just tell you what to do, but I couldn't, only because I'm only working at GNC. I have certain stuff. But really, when I started doing the juices, I could say, you need to do this and this, and then things will start changing.
Right.
How you feel inside, because truly, what you put in your body is how you feel on the outside. And if you're putting healthy oxygen stuff in your body, you're gonna be happy because automatically it promotes more energy.
Right.
When you're depressed, you're not going to have as much energy. And it's like smiling. When people automatically don't smile, it's because they're really not feeling good about themselves. And if you're having a bad day, it's kind of crazy. I've done this before. I would smile and force it, and automatically my day would change.
Fake it till you make it.
Yes, because when you smile, there's so many muscles in your head. I mean, there's in your mouth. It's crazy what it will do.
Yeah.
You cannot be unhappy.
Well, it's interesting because I teach meditation in corporate settings, and I've had people who've been, coming regularly for meditation. And after a while, your face looks softer.
Yes.
I've had
You become calmer.
You're calmer, and so I had a couple of ladies who said, I really resolved that I wanted to be a nicer person and friendlier person. And they said, and I had two ladies like this, and they said, you know what, people are starting to respond. I said, you know what, because you look more approachable now.
Yes.
You don't look sour.
Yes, and you can change the way how people feel by just smiling at them, even if they're not even aware of it. They are aware of it, and they'll think about it, and that could change their life just by having that one smile, one little interaction.
Right.
It's crazy. I look at it. It's everybody's expressions. Affects other people. And you can change it by the way you express yourself.
So if people are reacting to you a certain way and you'd like them to react to you differently, just smile.
And truly, the thing is, when you're happy, they're not going to be unhappy. They're going to try to get happy. And they're going to try to draw that positive energy.
It starts within.
Yes.
So a pet peeve, and I totally am digressing, but a pet peeve is when people, especially men, I'm sorry, will tell women, smile.
Yes.
It's like, well...
Because it's hard to. Some people...
It's hard to, but then it becomes something that the other person demands of you.
Yes.
It has to come from within.
It's really... It's like being happy.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. And really, and being happy with what you have, because most people don't even know what they have.
It's great for that as a gratitude journal.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I always say is we always want more. And we always want better food, or we want a better solution. But really, we have amazing things in front of us, but we don't even take that for granted. And we have never, we haven't grown those things.
Yeah.
And to maximize those things in order to get things that are even better. Why would we want more things? I think today's society is like that. We want all these things, but really we have things that are right there on our toes, but then we're reaching out at other things that we think that's going to make our life better, but it makes our life more complicated.
Absolutely.
And then we start working harder, and then we become, man, this is hard.
Yeah. Well, you have to have a bigger house to hold more stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have to work more to pay for the bigger house to hold more stuff.
Once you start letting go of unnecessary things and work on the little things, you don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
And when you do get a bigger house, it's going to be so easy because it has a place for it. So everything has a place, And the thing is, if you rush something, there's no place for it. Mm-hmm. There's more stress. There's more struggle, and it's like forcing something that's not supposed to be there. Yeah. Just let it happen. Be calm and allow it to flow and allow it to happen at that time. And, and it's not about it happens at a certain time. It's when you are ready inside. Yeah. When you're ready to take that next step, then it happens.
It steps up.
But if you're not, it's just going to make it worse.
And so I like what you said about Just small changes,
Yes.
small changes. And one small change that we can make is to visit RawsomeKC.com.
Positive change.
Yep, positive change. One small
Positive
thing
food.
we can change is just like what we put in our body.
Yes.
And you make it so easy at RawsomeKC.com.
Yes.
We can find your goods and
Yes.
your foods and your juices. Where can we find them in Kansas
Holistic
City?
Solutions at Lee Summit. You can also bulk it in Old Shawnee, Lenexa, and then also Genesis on Ridgeview. Some of my foods, the protein bowls and the chocolate milks.
Yeah.
And
Is
then
that Genesis Gyms?
Genesis Health Club.
Just
the one.
Fantastic,
Yes.
right?
And eventually I'm going to go into more Genesis. But the goal is to be able to have more places that are small businesses and have people able to pick up their order at those places at their convenience if they're going to go to those places.
It. I love it.
And plus, there's not going to be no delivery fee. So whether it's a $5 item, whether it's just one juice, it's going to be there.
There's no shipping.
Oh, yes.
So those of you outside of Kansas City, sorry. Eventually will this be coming to you?
It'll come pretty soon.
So we're going to put your website, the correct spelling.
Yeah, RawsomeKC without the E.
Without the E.
Yes.
Just RAW.
Yes.
Rawsome, like some raw stuff.
RawsomeKC.com. Yes.
And we'll put the correct link in the show notes so that you can go right to it. And so thank you, Winston. Well, it has been just so much fun
pleasure
talking
to be
you.
here.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Loved it. Yay. Maybe we'll have you on again.
Absolutely. We have to. It's going to get better and better because that's the whole thing is we can become more natural.
Super. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Christi, your host for the Radiate Wellness Podcast. And on behalf of the other Radiate Wellness practitioners and myself, we hope you're enjoying this podcast. Every week, there's something new and different to be informative, to hopefully inspire you, and to let you know what's available and out there that you can radiate in your life. But we have 3 asks for you. Just 3 simple asks. Really very easy. First, wherever you're listening, however you're listening, right now, whether it's on Apple Podcasts on your iPad, maybe YouTube on your phone, or maybe Google Play on your Android device. However you're listening to us, wherever you're listening to us, please just hit the subscribe button or follow button or whatever it is on whatever you're listening on. Just hit that button that lets you know when we're going to have a new episode out and when that's published. So thanks for that. The second ask, and also, while you're listening right now, you don't even have to get up. Just wherever you can, leave maybe 5-star review. Or maybe just a few words of, hey, this is a great podcast. I really enjoy it. Great guest, yada, yada, yada. So whatever you're listening on, wherever you're listening, just, however you can give us a thumbs up, a like, whatever it is. We'd appreciate that. So the first 2 asks have to do with helping others to find our podcast. So when someone goes to their favorite platform for podcasts, and believe me, podcasting is really huge right now. But when we have more likes, more subscribes, more listeners, then it helps people find us. So if they're looking for wellness, if they're looking for just ways to live better, to think better, to do better, be better, then they'll find us a lot more easily. Now the third ask. The third ask is going to ask just a little bit more of you, but honestly not much, and that is to tell your friends. So your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, your babysitter, your mail carrier, your dog walker, you get the idea. But just tell people about the Radiate Wellness Podcast. Whenever the conversation turns around to podcasting, then you can just drop us in. Or just let them know, hey, I discovered this new podcast that we really enjoy. So just let your friends know. Better yet, show them how to find us. Take their tablet, their phone, their device, whatever. May I? And then boop, boop, boop. Find our Radiate Wellness Podcast and show them how to listen. If we do those 3 things, if everyone did those 3 things, we would more than double our audience. And more people would be able to be inspired and informed by our podcast.
Radiate Wellness is a community of holistic and alternative healers and consultants based in the Kansas City area, dedicated to helping you create spiritual, energetic, and physical well-being.
To learn more about our practitioners, services, classes, and events, or to schedule an appointment, visit us at radiatewellnesscommunity.com.